Just noting the US role in oil markets now. So back 20 years ago, we were only producing 4 million barrels a day. We're now producing 13 million barrels a day. This chart, this blue here, we're like almost 16% of global oil supply. Saudi Arabia's 12.5, Russia's 12. So you can see that we've really, ramped up really in this sort of 2012, 2016 era. And that is, because of shale. Just one thing to note, oil and gas firms at the COP28, the climate change talks, 50 of them pledged net zero, and that represents 40% of oil production. That number is probably higher. Those are just the ones that happened at the COP. And that is because oil and gas companies know that they have to really start, looking at reducing carbon emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, however they can, for this social license to operate, because fossil fuels are going to be needed for a very long time. And so I think that's one big takeaway that, and this has been going on really over the last 5 years, this narrative. In the US, we're still driving a ton. We peaked at 280 billion miles of driving before the pandemic. Now we're at about 270, and that's going up a little bit. It's different than in Europe. There's less of this than in Europe, and it's because we have these vast distances in this country, and Americans like to drive. Anyway, this is just showing you what could happen with oil demand. And there's a lot going on here, but what I will just note is, so this black line here is showing oil demand if there's fading momentum for the transition, meaning